We are students from Wrocław and participants in project Filomates, which is about the connections between philosophy and mathematics. So we would like to ask you some questions, and I think the first question will be about what is so special in philosophy that interested you so much that you decided to study it and explore it your whole life?
The answer is a bit specific. I never studied philosophy. I studied only mathematics, and later did my PhD, as I told you, and then I became a teacher in philosophy without having ever studied it. So philosophy at that time was not considered, so to speak, as a serious issue. People who had finished some study in some science were thought to be able even to teach philosophy without, of course, I was interested in philosophy for all my life, but for a long time I had no official conclusion in philosophy, but finally I habilitated in Munich in logic, philosophy and philosophy of science. And at that time I have the official Venia Legendi teaching philosophy as well.
But what was so special about the philosophy that you decided to teach it and to be involved in it?
To earn a living. I mean, there is no one great real reason. You have to look around where are your talents and you have a family, and then I could have taught, say, sociology or whatever. That is to say, philosophy was just at hand because I knew some people from philosophical department, and they offered me a job. This may not be a very good reason, but it was a very effective reason in my case, at least.
Okay, and according to the topic of our project, what do you think are the connections between mathematics and philosophy? So, topological ontology seems like an obvious one. Maybe you can tell us something more about it, and maybe you can think about less obvious connections.
Again, the connection that brought me to topological philosophy or to mathematical philosophy were rather subjective. My stronghold was mathematics, in particular algebraic topology. So this was a first area where perhaps I could continue my former life as a mathematician. So I started with some rather formal philosophy of science, what at that time was rather fashionable, in particular in Germany and Latin America, namely structuralism. Structuralism considered itself as a scientific philosophy applying strict mathematical tools, conceptual tools, namely set theory. So the structuralists thought that in order to render philosophy, or and particularly philosophy of science, precise, one should cast it in the framework of set theory. But I always Yeah, and my first paper ever I published in Philosophy of Science was Topological Applications or Applications of Topology in Structuralism. The reason is that, according to my view, I consider set theory as unnecessarily abstract and general, and to make some concrete applications. My idea was to replace set theory by topology, and for this purpose, for quite a long time, I'm now working in formal philosophy of science, centering on the applications of set theory, topology. Yeah. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I think formal tools in philosophy have their severe limitations, and when I'm fed up with calculation, topologization, then my other strong point in philosophy is history of philosophy of science, and in particular studying neo-Kantianism and logical empiricism and this kind of stuff. So I'm switching a bit schizophrenically between these both areas.
And that is connected with our project also, because it is also about the unity of knowledge, whole knowledge. And what do you think about it?
Yeah, once I was a fan of Neurath, Otto Neurath, you should know, the founding father of the Unity of Science movement, and one of the organizers of Einheitswissenschaft, unified science, that he belonged to the Vienna Circle in the 1930s. And once I was a fan of Neurath, but I think Neurath had not much knowledge about the formal sciences, in particular about mathematics and logic. So this project of unified science in particular failed in the end. But it's interesting to study or to investigate on why it failed and how one may set it up anew and with some more success. And then I came to another German philosopher, namely Ernst Cassirer. Ernst Cassirer is one of the best-known philosophers of neo-Kantianism, born in Breslau, Wroclaw, and then he went to Berlin and to Marburg, and later had to emigrate to the United States because he was a Jew and he was a liberal, and so he lived his last years in New York, and his main work in philosophy of science is substance and function, where he emphasizes the important role of function and functional concept against substantial and objectual concept. So I was a bit concerned with, say, Pershanovsky's ontology, where function, as it seems, doesn't play a very important role. So the general attitude today, let's start in a different way. For a long time, Cassirer was forgotten, but in the last 10 or 15 years, he is one of the leading figures in German philosophy of science in the United States. And I think it is important if you want to understand even contemporary science, you should have read Substance and Function. This fashion for Cassirer has even become a fashion in contemporary philosophy of science of the Anglo-Saxon world. For instance, quite recently, several people like Stephen French, who is one of the founders of modern structural realism, came to the conclusion that one should study, one could learn a lot of Cassirer for contemporary quantum physics, etc., etc.
So, do you agree with the conception of unity of sciences or not?
In a certain sense, yes. In another sense, no. I mean, it can't be done in the way how Neurath did it, but I think basically there is a certain unity in the sciences, but perhaps not in the way as Neurath thought. Again, here Cassirer could help us. According to him, there is an essential unity between mathematics and empirical sciences. So what we have, or what philosophy has to understand or has to propagate, to elaborate, is the essential unity between mathematics and empirical sciences. As he says, philosophy should not look, say, at empirical science alone or as mathematics alone, but philosophy should have in perspective both. Otherwise, we are not able to understand mathematics, neither we are able to understand empirical science. But the standard opinion is that doing philosophy of science, philosophy of mathematics is something quite different from doing philosophy of empirical science, in particular physics. And for the moment, this is my, so to speak, my philosophical adversary to overcome this separation. And I mean, this amounts then to a more modest unity of science than Neurath thought, but at least mathematics, empirical sciences, and what else? And philosophy form a unit. This I would maintain.
Okay. And so you are a mathematician, philosopher, and a historian. So you are an example of this unity, in fact.
I do it in my modest and rather limited way. Yes, I think one should attempt a certain universality. That's true. I mean, this always remains imperfect and limited, but doing philosophy, say from such an isolated perspective, just concentrating on, I don't know what, Kant or Aristoteles, and being or staying blind of all other stuff certainly does not lead to good philosophy. And a philosopher, that's trivial, should strive for good philosophy, or quality philosophy.
So we shouldn't just focus on one discipline, we should look wider and think wider.
Again, you should not start thinking wider from the very beginning. You should have a strong point, whatever it is, maybe chemistry or biology or in my case mathematics. This may form the core of your philosophical personality. But at the same time, you should not only look at your stronghold, but you should go to risk. You should risk your reputation, that you not only concentrate, but try to be universal. You never succeed, but you should have this intention. Okay?
Thank you very much.
How long? I have no feeling of time. Universidad del País Vasco, Euskal Herria Universitatea in Donostia, San Sebastian. According to my education, I obtained a PhD in mathematics, then for some time worked in education of mathematics, and finally I came to philosophy proper.
It's better for you.
Oh, you are the interviewer?
We are both.
We are both.
Okay.
Okay.